Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, let's talk about the Esme scene with Ava and her pressing charges on Esme, which I'm totally okay with. Laura, you're an idiot. I don't know on what planet you actually thought that you can guarantee that this girl was going to go free. She kept talking about, oh, you should turn yourself in. You should, do it to be a better person, this, that, and the third. They're just going to give you a slap on the wrist. First of all, even if Ava didn't press charges, that would stop the district attorney or even the judge from giving her a harsher sentence based off of her criminal history. And, like I said, I was okay with Ava pressing charges because the way she sat there and looked at it was just like, you didn't pay for the crimes that you did do. Let's go back and remember why they got Esme out of jail in the first place. They did it to get Ace, to get Ace out of that situation. And Ava was like, yo, listen, she didn't pay for the crimes that she did to Trina. She didn't pay for the crimes that she did for Jocelyn and Cam. So at the very least, she should sit there and pay for something. I know it's kind of somewhat ass backwards given the stuff that Ava did. But again, she has a point with Trina. Trina was going to go to jail for a crime that she didn't commit. No, Esme actually did commit the crime. So, and when Laura was there talking about, oh, she's a mother, this, that, and the third, Ava was like, no, you can sit there and miss me with that. Because first of all, Ace has a family of other people that sit there and love him, that can sit there and take care of him. So don't sit there and play the mom card. Esme's not there crying and stuff like that. Laura's not there feeling sad. I'm like, well, boo, you shouldn't have told her to confess. It was just as simple as that. Curtis and Portia, they're going back and forth if they're going to do the surgery, if they're not going to do surgery. Which, let's be honest, we all knew that they were going to do the surgery. There was no point in sitting there having to go to the hospital, talk to the doctors and everything like that, just for them not to go with the surgery. So in some ways, it was kind of pointless. In some ways, at least the whole if they're going to do it or not do it. And also given its success rate was like 3 people out of 20 something that actually was successful in the whole thing was not a very promising thing. Trina's not telling Stella, because here's the thing, Stella and Hat Daddy kind of had an issue. Well, pretty much Hat Daddy snapped at snapped at Stella. Here's the thing. Stella was, I don't want to sit there and say she was negative, but like she was very worried if the treatment didn't work. And, Hat Daddy wanted everyone to sit there and be positive vibes only, and he snapped at her. Neither of them was wrong when you're sitting there dealing, when you're granted, you shouldn't have snapped at her. But, when you're in that hospital situation and your loved ones is in the hospital, emotions are running high. Eventually, they do wind up making up. He apologized to her. They kind of talk about the kiss a little bit because that's something that they should have probably been did. And, Trina's not there talking to Stella about if she should go to Paris or not because, she wants to be there for Curtis. Is anyone going to sit there and talk about Tiger at this point? Or are we just going to act like the character just doesn't exist anymore? I get that she's getting closer to Curtis and what happened to Curtis. She wants to be there for Curtis. But it's like, does she even spend time with Tiger at this point? The last time we saw Tiger was not there drinking like there was no tomorrow. And where is he at now? Or is it just like the show just not care about him anymore? Gregory and Alexis talking about their kiss and making it way more awkward than it needs to be. More specifically, Gregory. Because, he's sitting there asking these questions of, would you have skydived? Would you have kissed me? Would you have did this, have done that, if you didn't know about my diagnosis? Alexis doesn't have a time machine, okay? So she can't go back and unknow what she already knows now. So she can't even sit there and really give him an answer. And just throughout his run, I felt like for the most part, he was wasted. I don't know. Here's the thing. When it came towards Alexis and Julian, Julian set the bar. Yeah, there was Rick Lanson before that, but Julian set the bar. And I felt like ever since Julian, like Julian was, in my opinion, Alexis's like greatest love story or greatest love. You got the other guy, I don't even remember his name from some Stargate show. And then they brought in Gregory to, I guess, be her love interest, which they didn't really do anything with. And now, towards the end, when he's actually on the verge of probably, dying soon, then they decide to have him. It's just like, it's just one giant misstep. One giant misstep. Um, and TJ was there. TJ was not there TJ was not there trying to make Marshall feel better about the surgery. He couldn't guarantee anything, but he pretty much just like, he's a fighter. He still at a good age or whatever. Like, his success rate is high. Which I get it from Marshall's standpoint because, just because he could sit there and try to, you know, I guess give him good odds, there's no guarantee. And when you're worried, it's like you almost kind of have tunnel vision. No matter what kind of no matter what kind of positive thing they could sit there and say to you that most likely it's going to work out, most likely it's going to do this, most likely it's going to do that. If you're worried, you're not really hearing that much of it. Um, Sonny and Carly. Sonny was there for Carly. They were some there trading stories about Bobby, what Bobby meant to them. Briefly talked about Nina and talked about his hand. Um, that was pretty much about it for the majority of the Carly and Sonny stuff. The majority of it was talking about Bobby. Now, I think that's about it. But before I do go, I do want to sit there and I said this in my live stream. I'll sit there and say this here. So tomorrow is going to be the Bobby funeral. I'm not going to wind up doing a review on it. For my mental well-being, my mental health, because I just feel like it's going to be really sad. Um, I'd rather not sit there and like I'm gonna watch the episode or I'll probably skim through most of it, but like I don't feel like I'm able to sit there and talk about it. So I'm not gonna wind up doing a review on it. I'll still wind up doing a live stream. We'll sit there and talk about some other stuff. We'll talk about General Hospital if you want. If y'all want to sit there and talk about the funeral and stuff, that's fine. Um, but yeah, I just want to sit there and say that I'll probably make a post about it as well in case people didn't want to watching this video. But yeah, I just want to sit there and say that. I feel like that's about it. I can't really. Let me just pause. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything. All in all, I would sit there and say this episode was okay. The thing about Gregory and what the thing about Gregory just in general is that the character has been on for about a year, give or take, and I haven't had one person sit there and say anything super positive about Gregory whatsoever. And so, in a lot of ways, I'm actually kind of surprised that they kept him on this long because I haven't heard one positive thing about this character. And usually, after a while, if the audience is not feeling the character, usually they will sit there and course correct. They're not like Days of Our Lives where they shoot stuff months in advance, where we don't like something and it takes them a while to sit there and change something. With Gregory is like right off the bat. I feel like most people tried to give him a chance, but it was just like, especially with Alexis, but it just didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't go anywhere. They didn't even sit there and try to have a romance, and he was just there. And every scene with him and Alexis, with her and Alexis, okay, with him and Alexis was just boring. It was boring. It felt like filler. People said they didn't have any chemistry. I still don't know what that means, but the point is, the character was just not well received. So why keep him on this long? And now we have this ALS thing where it's like watching him slowly die. It's like it's torture. I mean, granted, for the character, it's torture, but for us, it's torture. Sit there and watch more of these scenes. Like even today, they just sat there and talked about how awkward the kiss was, and if you're, would you be feeling me if I didn't have ALS? And it's like, bro, like really? It's like you honestly think that this is something that we're sitting there like, oh man, I can't wait to sit there and see what Alexa's gonna say. It's like, no. Honestly, tell you the truth, and I know it sounds very dickish, but most of us are just saying, can we just kill this character off already and just kind of move on to like getting a better character, getting a better romance story for Alexis, getting Alexis into something that's interesting? I think that's what we're all sitting there saying. Or we're all sitting there thinking, fine, I'll be the villain, whatever. Um, Anyway, I feel like that's about it. If I missed some stuff, let's sit there and talk about it in the live stream tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll go over all the shows during the hospital, Days of Our Lives, Born and Beautiful, and Young and the Restless. And with that being said, I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next video.